Since 2017, I've been focusing my attention on one goal, which is how do I walk more people into a fitness studio and gym's doors? And so what I've learned over the past 8 years when it comes to Instagram advertising in particular is going to shock you. And the reason I say this is because most people have their advertising campaign set up incorrect. They do not have a structured process that gives clarity on what's working and what's not working. And so in this video, my plan is to save you 8 years of learnings and save you thousands of dollars in mistakes you could otherwise be avoiding. I'm going to walk through 5 different steps that you can take to get your ad account structured properly for your Instagram ads. I'm also going to walk through 4 different phases of ad testing: offer testing, headline hook testing, copy testing, and then creative testing, and how to manage that on an ongoing basis. Okay, so before we get into the step-by-step in the actual ads manager where we're going to be setting up our Instagram ads, I want to go through the macro overview of the actual process we're going to be running here. Okay, and so this is the untapped revenue ad testing process that we run with our partners that works tremendously well to get your Instagram ads to actually perform. And so the first thing we always do with our ads, of course, I'm going to walk through this step-by-step in just a second, but we're going to start with testing offers. We're going to figure out what's the best offer for your particular location, for your market, your demographic, because it is completely different. If you're a multi-location studio owner, you'll know that your one location is completely different than your other location. And so for those of you who don't have multiple locations, just keep this in mind that every single location is completely different in terms of how you market it. Okay. And so offer testing is number 1. Then we move to headline hook, ad copy tests, creative testing. And then from there, once we have our base tests completed, we're going to be reviewing our stats to determine how well are things going. Are we making a return on our investment? What's our booking percentages? What's our show up rates? What are our actual membership sales from this advertising campaign? And from there, depending on where there might be an issue, so let's say we're getting really cheap leads, but nobody's booking appointments, then we're going to start to roll out optimization tests to fix the problem. And so if the problem is follow-up, then we're going to fix the follow-up problem. If it's the lead cost is too high, we're going to fix the lead cost metric. And that's where we're going to look at optimization tests. And then on the far side here, you'll see continued testing. Now, something to preface here is that you will always need to be testing things at all times when you're running ads. Okay. And so the basic idea here is we're going to be testing some variable. So in this case, as an example, test 1 to 2 new creatives, winners keep running. And then from there, the winners will keep running. And we're always going to have 1 to 2 more ads that are being tested at all times so that we can keep things fresh. So let's roll through this. So 4 main tests we start with: offer test, headline hook test, ad copy test, and then the creative test. And so phase 1 is our offer testing. And so the only thing we're doing here is we're isolating the offer as the variable. And so you see here circled at the bottom is the headline, and each of them is completely different because we are isolating this as a variable. The copy is the same. The creatives are the exact same. The only thing that we're testing right here is the offer to see how well it does. And so in order for us to figure out what is this, the winning ad, we're analyzing the data after each offer gets a minimum of 1,100 impressions. And so you can see here as an example, they each got 1,100 impressions plus, and I can see here that based on the cost per lead, the winning offer is going to be this ad here based on the stats here. And so that's how we're determining a winner. Once we have the winner, so let's say it's the 14-day core restore in this example here, we're going to move that to the next phase of testing. And so when phase 2 testing comes around, we're testing the headline hook. And so we're taking the 14-day core restore that was the original winner, and we're replacing that core restore section. And so it's now we're testing against the tone and sculpt versus a slim down versus a full body revamp. Okay, and so that's the hook part we're doing. Same thing we did in the last test. We're taking 3 to 5 variations of this, and we're going to roll that out. After 1,100 impressions, we're going to then take a look at the data, which one is the winner, and then move on to the next phase of testing. So let's just say the original one again, the 14-day core restore. We're now going to be changing out the top part of the ad. So the copy section. Okay, so this is the new variable at which we're testing. And we're going to see at this point, we're going to run 3 to 5 different variations. Which one at this point is the most successful? Which one's getting us the best result? From there, we're going to check again, 1,100 impressions, which one did the best, and then take that winner to the last phase of testing. So just to keep things congruent and easy, let's say this copy from the original was also the winner here. We're then going to move to the last phase of testing where we're now looking at the creative to see out of all these different creatives, which one is actually going to get us the best results moving forward. Then we're going to analyze things a little bit differently here. And so at this point, when we're running creative tests, this is where we actually want to keep ads running at all times now. And so we're not going to shut them off after 1,100 impressions. We're going to keep them running because we want a successful campaign that's constantly running. And so at this point, we're not looking for a specific number of impressions. We're looking for what one has the best cost per per lead. Okay. And from there, we're going to shut off the ones that have expensive cost per leads and keep the ones that are doing well. Okay, so that's the general macro overview of the testing process. So now let's jump into the ad account and actually walk through how to set this up. Okay, so step one is going to be setting up your campaign objective as well as your ad targeting. Now, if you do not have an ads manager set up and you don't have a business manager, you're going to want to head to business.facebook.com and you're going to create a new business manager account. Now, once you have your business manager set up, you're going to create a new ad account. So how you do that is once you have your business manager all set up and in place, you can see here I'm within Untapped Revenue's business account. You're going to go to pages. You're going to add your Facebook page that you're going to want to run ads to. So you should already have this set up for your gym or studio. You're going to want to make sure to add this. So you're going to click add your page. You should already be an owner of your page. And so it should be really easy just to put in the Facebook page name here and add that page to the account. Once you've done so, just make sure once you have your page added that you assign yourself to the page. And so in this case here, I can assign myself, make sure that you give yourself full control of that page. And this part of it is set up. Then you're going to head over to the ad accounts and you're going to create a brand new ad account. And so if you don't have one of these in place, you're going to click create a new ad account and you're going to go through these steps to build out the ad account. Now, once this is all set up, just make sure you get a payment method connected to the account. It's very simple to just click on billing and payments down here. When you click on that, you can add a card and then you can make sure that it's assigned to the ad account. Now, similar to what we did with the Facebook page, you're also going to click on that ad account once it's created. So I'll use this one as an example. You click assign people, make sure you assign yourself, and then give yourself full control of that ad account. Now, when we go to actually build out the ads, once you have this set up, it's structured, you have yourself assigned. In the top right here, you can click open in ads manager and it's going to take you into the actual ad account. So for the first step, once you get to this part of the build out, we're going to be creating a new campaign. And so you're going to click on this little create button, click on leads, and we're going to click continue. And for this option here, we're always going to do manual lead campaign. We do not want to let Facebook choose everything for us. And so we're just going to click continue on the manual leads. We're going to label this. I like to label them top of funnel testing because we're going to be testing a bunch of things here. And then we're going to click next. So we're going to leave everything else off. And then we're going to go into setting up the ad targeting. And so in this step here, we're going to label this blanket targeting. We're going to do all 25 plus. Now, if you've been running ads for a long period of time and you know that there's a certain age range that just will not work. So if you know that younger than 27 doesn't work and older than 60 doesn't work, then you're going to want to confine your audience to that range. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here, maximize number of leads. So we're going to go to instant forms. Make sure you selected the right page, maximize number of leads, scroll down. I like to start the budget at $31 a day. Little tip here, we add an extra dollar because most marketers will do whole numbers. And so because Instagram and Facebook use an auction system, by adding an extra dollar, anybody who's spending $30 a day for the audience you're looking to get in front of, you'll be winning in the auction system and you'll have favor because you're willing to spend more than them. As I scroll down, we're going to set up two different types of targeting. And so depending on your situation, depending on the market and how specific you want to be with your audience, if you know that, like I said, 25 to 55 is the perfect audience range for you, then you're going to want to use original audience options. And that's going to confine Facebook to only use the audience parameters you give it. In this setup here, where we have Advantage Plus audience, we're letting Facebook's algorithm pick and choose people outside of the parameters we give it. And so as an example here, if I put in the address, very simple, I'm going to put just a random address here. Use this one. We're going to put a 5-mile radius. Okay. And if I go down to see more options, minimum age here, you could read this. It just says you can select a minimum age below 18 globally, 20 in Thailand, 21 in Indonesia. Without an upper age limit, our system can show your ads to a broader audience. And so what it's basically doing is as soon as we select this minimum age, we can only go to 25 in this case. Facebook is going to pick anybody who's above 25. They're just going to pick and choose people and basically find the people who are going to keep your costs the lowest. Down here, you'll see it says audience suggestions, which are optional. And so what this means is if we share an audience suggestion, Facebook's going to prioritize audience matching this profile before searching outside of those parameters. So you're letting Facebook's algorithm pick and choose people even outside of the parameters you give it. And so even though I could come in here and say, hey, I want people that are 30 to 50 or to 60 here, Facebook will occasionally step outside of these parameters to get your results better. And so if you know a lot about your audience and your demographic, and you know that only 30 to 60 year olds are going to be the best audience for you guys, then switch to original audience options, click use original. And then that way, once you remove that, it is only going to show your ad to people who are 30 to 60 that are men or women. Okay, and in this 5-mile radius. And so keep that in mind. Generally speaking, we see good results from either. Typically, we'll use the Advantage Plus if we know that the studio has a wide range of clients. We'll let the algorithm do its thing, and we'll typically see pretty good results doing it that way. But if you know this stuff, then you can use it this way as well. So we're going to leave everything else the same. The other thing I'm going to turn off here is the reach people beyond your detailed targeting. I'm going to turn that off because that's basically the same thing as the Advantage Plus audience. So I don't want that in this case. So we're going to go 30 to 60, 5-mile radius. And that is now step 1 of this setup. Step 2 is going to be building out the actual ad. And so the first phase of our system here is going to be an offer test. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put offer number 1. I'll usually put the name in here. So let's just use one as an example, 10 days for $10. We're going to make sure that we have the right page, the Instagram account set up. I'm going to turn off multi-advertiser ad. If you read the details about this, we've tested this before. It just doesn't produce any significant results. And so we like to turn it off because we see better results. And so that's why we do that. Your media, you're going to find an image, video. If you have any history in your ad account, use the best performing creative or asset that you've ever used, and you're going to put that in there. Otherwise, group photos, videos of people doing workouts in your classes work extremely well when it comes to creatives. And then our primary text, let me just grab our sheet here of our copies. So we're going to use a very blanket copy here because our real test right now is going to be the offer. And so we're going to keep it pretty simple here. And so, hello, ladies of location. We're doing something we've never done before here at Studio Name. Now, keep in mind, we are targeting not just women. And so we're going to put residents. Okay, I'm going to keep everything blank here. And then obviously what I'm going to change here is the offer, which is going to be 10 days of access for $10. 10 days of unlimited access for $10. And then we're going to put the headline in. And this is going to be basically what we're testing here. So 10 days, $10. Okay, and we're going to look to the side here to see how it looks. We'll add in a random creative here. Okay, so let's just use random here. Okay, so as I said, just make sure you're obviously using a studio image that makes sense. Make sure it looks good on all placements. And so what I usually do is just keep it original. We'll turn off all optimizations. This is really important if you're using an image. Reason being is what'll happen is with all these optimizations is Facebook will start to use different variations, which changes the test. Okay, it's no longer an isolated test because one of the, AI ads that's running, it'll take that and it'll use a different variation of it. And so we don't want to have that in place when we're doing these tests. So just make sure everything is turned off. Okay, make sure it looks good. We want to change the button to learn more. Okay, 10 days of unlimited classes for $10 and everything looks solid from here. The next thing we need to do is set up the actual lead ads. Okay, so setting up the form, you're going to click create a form. You're going to title the form. So you want to title it just the offer, 10 for 10. We're always going to use a high intent step here. The reason being is if you've ever run ads in the past and you've ever run lead ads, you'll notice a lot of people say they didn't opt in. And so this just basically adds some friction where they have to review their information in order to submit it. And that will help with quality on the back end. The other thing I like to do is go to settings and open your ad up so that it can be shared. This is going to help your organic growth from the ad. It's going to help more people see it, which is going to lead to more leads. Intro, I generally have a greeting. And so it's going to have something that basically just re-emphasizes the offer. So 10 days, limited classes, $10. And then in here, we want to have a couple things about your studio that's unique. And so in this case here, I'm just going to use some general examples. Let's just pull this up. So we'll use something like this. 100% satisfaction guarantee, various sessions every week, custom to your fitness level, family-like community with unlimited motivation and support, wide variety of classes, never be bored, and so much more. Okay, and so this looks good. I do like to put in some emojis just because it adds a little bit more to it. So 10 days of unlimited classes for $10. Scrolling down here, enter your information to sign up. Something else you can do is if you don't want any, old members or people who are just trying to take advantage of all your trials, you can just put something in here like new members only, right? And that way they know this is specifically for new members. You're going to want to make sure to reorder this, have full name, email, and then phone number at the very bottom. That way, if they go through this, it's going to fill it in this order. Okay, and then we're going to have your privacy policy, the review screen. So as I mentioned, that high intent step is exactly what this is here. And so they have to slide this to submit their information, which is going to help increase the quality of the leads. On the back end here, great, last step. So you always want to let them know there's one last thing that they need to do. And so a couple things you can do here. You can get people to go to your website, check out more information, and then you can follow up through text messaging. The other thing you can do here is you can put in a self-scheduling link. So if you have a booking calendar that people can self-schedule, you can put that link in here. The only thing that would change here is you're going to say, click here to book your first visit. So it could be something like this if you wanted to allow people to self-book. What we've found is that when you actually let people self-book, because they're making a commitment to themselves, the show-up rate is a lot worse. Versus if you get them to opt in, they can go check out the website. You then text them saying, hey, saw you opted in for our 10 for 10. When can we get you in for your first class? And then if they were to book through you, through texting, they're more likely to follow through because they made a commitment to you rather than themselves. And so that's just something we've seen on our end. And so something we like to put in the copy here is just this, where we'll basically do it something along these lines. I'll be reaching out via text shortly to get you set up for your first visit. Once we have your first visit scheduled, your spot will be secured. Remember, we only have a limited number of passes available. Once they're gone, they're gone. So please respond to my text messages. And then of course, you're going to want to put your name here. And then what we like to do is just put something like this where it says view website, and then just have the website there, just like this. So that way, they can check out more information if they want. The only thing I will mention is that if you're going to put your website, make sure it's structured for conversion and it's actually a good website. If you're driving people to a website that looks like crap, it's not going to work as well. People are going to get to the website, they're going to be turned off from the idea of coming to your studio, and it's going to affect the back end conversions. Okay, and so just keep that in mind. You got to make sure you have a good website if you're going to do that. If not, I would not put your website link here. I would instead use a booking link or something else. Okay, so now that that's done, we can click create this form. And now this is set up and ready to go. Okay, so last step is setting up your tracking. Make sure that you have a Facebook Pixel conversion API set up on your account. If not, there's tons of videos on how to set that up online, but you're going to want to make sure you have this in place. Now, to finally finish the offer test, what you now need to do is duplicate this 3 to 5 times. And so I'm going to quickly do this. We'll just make 3 just to go through this example. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to change out this offer. So let's just say I did a 15 days for $15. Okay. Scroll down here, 15 days of unlimited classes for $15. 15. Okay. Now you're going to want to try a bunch of different styles of tests. And so I'll show you a couple examples here of some ones that work really well for us. Here's a whole variety of different offers. 10 days unlimited classes, only $10. You'll see here, I put in brackets here, hook. And so down here, you can see a bunch of different hooks. There's seasonal hooks. There's tons of things that you can utilize to come up with these offer structures and these different variations. So for this example, just keep in mind, I'm just using these as examples. You're going to want to test a wide variety of these, and you can always test more than 3 to 5. You can test, up to 10, 12, however many you want to test, the more, the better, because you're going to really find an offer that works really well for your location. And so just keep in mind, this is an example. So here we're gonna have the same creative. Only thing we're changing is this, as well as the offer little section in there. We're gonna scroll down, duplicate the form we just created, change out the title of this form. Okay, change out the headline here, and everything else is going to be the exact same. So I can just click create form, and you're going to want to make sure that your tracking is turned on here as well. And you're going to do the same thing here. We'll just use 14 days as the example. 14, just to make it easy. 14. Okay, duplicate 14. Same thing here. Go into intro 14, and then we're going to create the form. Okay, and so now we have 3 different offers set up. They have all their tracking. They're all different. They have their own individual forms. And so what we're going to do at this point is exactly what I explained at the beginning of the video. Is we're going to run each of these for 1,100 impressions. And so the best way to do this is if we actually go back into the ad set. Okay, and we go, once we've clicked on it, we're going to click rule, create a new rule. Next, we're going to set up a rule to turn off ads after 1,100 impressions. Okay, and so we're going to apply this rule to one ad set, and we're going to turn off the ads. We're going to do active ads in one ad set, and then we're going to turn off ad. Okay, so all the active ads in this ad set are going to be applied to this rule. We're going to then change this to impressions. When the impressions are greater than 1,100, okay, this is going to continuously run every 30 to 60 minutes. And if the ads have more than 1,100 impressions, they're going to turn off, okay? And so once we have this created, now we're good to roll this test out. And so this is the first test we're going to run. We're going to try to figure out, okay, does a 15 day for $15, 14 day for $14, or 10 for 10 do better in this test? Okay, step number 3 is going to be running our hook test. So what we're going to do is, depending on which one of these is the winner. And so how we determine what the winner is by the cost per lead. And so whatever one got the most cost per lead, got the cheapest cost per lead, is going to be moving on to the next round. And so as an example, let's say the 10 days for $10 was the winner. Okay. So all we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 3 to 5 times. So in this case here, we're only going to do 3. And all I'm going to do here is change out the hook. So 10-day, just say 10-day tone and sculpt for $10. Okay, and all we're going to do here, 10-day tone and sculpt for $10. 10-day tone and sculpt, $10. And then we're going to duplicate the 10 for 10 page here, 10-day sculpt. We're going to change the intro title to 10-day tone and sculpt. Okay, everything else is the exact same, so we're just going to create the form. Now this should probably say tone and sculpt program for $10, and that way it would look a lot cleaner here also. Okay, so this is good to go, and we're going to do the exact same thing for these ones, but change it up. So 10-day, let's do core restore, $10. Roll down here, $10, and then same thing here, 10-day, $10, and then we'll duplicate this. So very simple process. There's not much to it. We're just taking these different variations of headlines that are going to be appealing to certain people, or higher intent program for $10, create the form. Okay, now for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the next step here, but it's the exact same process over and over again. Now, something to note here is because we have a rule set up at the ad set level. And so if you remember, we set up that rule here, that's going to turn off any ads that are active in this ad set that have over 1,100 impressions. And so these ones would have automatically turned off, these ones. So these ones would have all turned off like this. Okay. And then as soon as we publish these ones and start running them, they're going to basically work until they spend 1,100 impressions, and then they'll shut off as well. Okay. Once that's complete and we're done this next phase of testing, we're going to move on to step 3. And so at step 3 or step 4, we're going to be taking this and we're going to be moving it on to the copy testing stage. And so let's just say the 10-day core restore for $10 was the winner in this case. We're going to duplicate this 3 to 5 times. For the sake of this, I'm just going to duplicate it twice for the sake of time. We're going to scroll to the title of this and we're going to change copy. So this is going to be core restore copy number 1. Okay. And we're going to do this one here, copy number 2. Okay. And all we're going to do in this test here is we're going to change this entire copy with a new one. And so what I'm going to do is head into our copies sheet here. Let's just take this one, paste it here. Grab another one, take it to the next page here, this one, paste it here, okay? And so of course I'm gonna go through this, change all this information out with the proper information, put in the right offer in all of this section here, make sure it looks good. And then once this is done, okay, we're gonna basically run the exact same thing. We don't have to change the form, we don't have to change the headline because this was the winning headline. We're just changing the copy in this section here. And so you can see here up at the top, just grab my cursor, you can see here at the top, that is gonna be different from the other one running, which looks like this one. Okay. So completely different little hookup here. And so that's going to be what we're testing at this point in time. Now, once this is completed, same thing. Once this starts to run, that rule that we set is going to turn these off automatically after 1,100 impressions. Once these ones are complete, we move on to the final and last phase of testing. And so all we're going to do is, let's just say it was copy number 2 that was the winner. We're going to duplicate this 3 times or so. Okay. And we're going to change this out to, we'll just do this to make it easy. Winner 1. Creative number 1. Okay, and then this one will be same idea. It's here, winner 1, creative number 2, and this last one here, winner number 1, creative number 3. Okay, and so these ones would have turned off. So we have these 3 new ones that we're going to be running. And so this is the simplest phase to do. We're just going to delete the media and we're going to replace it with something else. So very simple. Just going to click on a new image. We're going to want to have a video to test, try a carousel, do a bunch of variations of tests here. And so this is going to turn all these off. Okay, so let's just say this is the first one. Everything else in the ad is going to stay the exact same because this was the ad combination that moved on to this final phase. So this next one, delete that, I'll add a video. Just say it's this one. Of course, these are going to be videos of your studio. Turn off all the optimizations, scroll down, make sure everything looks good here. It does. And then we're going to move on to the very last one here. We're going to delete the creative and we're going to add one last one, whatever the difference is going to be here. Okay, just make sure the image doesn't have a big headline in it like that. Just do this one. Okay. And so now that's all set up and ready to go. And so at this point in the testing, what we're going to need to do is just to remove the rule that we have in place. And so if I go to manage rules, we're going to head in here, and that ad set rule that we had turned on here that you can see, we're going to turn that off because at this phase of the testing, we don't actually want these ads to shut off. We want these ads to start generating leads because this is the best combination. And now we're going to figure out what creative is doing the best. And so what we need to do is check these ads every single day because they're not going to automatically turn off. We need to come in here and look at, okay, what are the best performers? Shut off the ones that aren't doing well. And then let's just say for an example here, creative number 1 and number 2 didn't really do very well, but creative 3 did exceptionally well. We're then going to keep that one running. And all we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it again, change this to creative number 4, and we're going to add a new creative. And we're going to keep this testing going all the time. We're going to keep deleting, we're going to keep adding new creatives to test to try to figure out the best cost per lead and constantly do this. Because at this point, we have a copy that we've tested, we have a headline, we have a hook that we've tested. And so we have the best combination. And now what we're trying to figure out is, okay, what creatives can we keep using to keep our costs down? And this is going to get you 90% of the way there with your Instagram ads. Keep in mind, this is also going to run on Facebook. And so having this entire system operating for your business where you're constantly testing new things is going to help tremendously. Now, at any point, if you're starting to notice that your ads are not performing very well, you can always go back and start retesting things. And so if your cost per lead started really good and then it started faltering, what you can go back to is phase 1 testing, where you're going back to figure out, okay, what offer is now going to work in this season of the year? Maybe it's, the holiday season. And so maybe we need to change something up. And so you can always go back to phase 1 and restart this testing process. But this is going to get you 90% of the way there. This testing process has taken us 8 years to slowly define in order to get the best results from the get-go. If you found this video helpful and you want to support the channel, please leave it a like and subscribe to see more content like this. And if you're looking for somebody to operate a system like this for your fitness studio or gym, then you can reach out to me at untapped-revenue.com and book a free strategy session.